Hey everyone, welcome to 41 Strong Podcast. My name is Chuck Tate. Great to have you with us today. 41 Strong is a podcast that delivers encouraging scriptures and stories to help people like you hold on and stand strong. For more information about 41 Strong and 41 Will Come, you can visit my website, chucketate.com. That's chucketate.com. All right, well, today is episode 125, and my guest is radio personality Scott Wheeler. Scott.
Hey, great to be here, Chuck.
Hey, great to have you here, man.
Thank you.
I have so many questions.
Fire away.
Yeah, man. So you've been doing radio a long time, and currently you work for WIRL.
Right.
And then you're also getting ready to host your own podcast right here on Peoria Life.
I am so excited about this.
Yeah, well, why don't you just begin by telling us about that?
Yeah, it's called Scott Wheeler's Airplay. Okay. And over the years, I have gotten to know just about every radio and TV personality in Peoria or formerly from Peoria.
Yeah.
They may have moved on. I may have hired some of them, actually. And so I'm going to call up my friends and have them come in and chat with them about the things you don't normally hear about them just from listening to them on the air or watching them on TV. Some inside stuff, some behind the curtain kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Kind of like you're doing to me today.
That's cool. That's really cool because, I think a lot of people, when they are familiar with whether it's a radio personality or a TV personality and they listen or watch every day, they think they know you, right?
Well, radio's a very intimate medium. It's a one-on-one communication, so I can see why people think that. And a lot of what you hear is real, but there's some great behind-the-scenes stories, trust me, about people's lives and where they come from and kind of their worldview and just some really cool stuff, and that's what I hope to bring out.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to.
Yeah, it starts April 9th.
April 9th
Yes.
on Peoria Life. Cool. There you have it. So check that out. And what's the name of the show again?
Scott Wheeler's Airplay.
Airplay. All right. I love it.
Because we're going to play a little bit, have some fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how long have you been doing radio? I mean,
Oh my gosh.
forever, right?
Can you do the math? About 40 years.
Wow.
Okay.
So 41 will come then.
Yeah. It always works out that way. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started when I was 15, okay? I couldn't even drive to the radio station. My mom had to drive me to the station. And it was a little local hometown station in Waukegan, Illinois.
Okay.
And, my parents knew the general manager, which it's always important to have an in.
Yeah.
And
whatever it takes.
when it came time to get that summer job, I said, McDonald's, radio, could you call up the general manager and see if I can cut the grass or answer the phone or whatever? That's exactly what happened. So I worked summer of my sophomore year in high school. And I was cutting the grass, answering the phone, taking out the garbage, and it was a daytime only station. So at 4 o'clock, 4:15 in November, it would sign off the air at sunset.
Okay.
And
Wow.
so by 4 o'clock, there was nobody in the radio station. It was me answering the phone and the guy on the air, and the guy on the air got sick. Like, can't be in the studio, have to be down the hall kind of sick.
Yeah.
And he said, dude, you're going to have to go on the air. And that's how it happened. And I was awful. I had to do a traffic report, and it was streets in the Chicagoland area that I'd known all my life. They didn't come out of my mouth that way. Tui became Toey, and, the southbound Edens was the Edens, and it was awful. But they heard something that said, we'll put him in overnights. And that's where it started.
Man, that is so cool. It kind of reminds me of years ago when I was, my wife and I, before we even had kids, it was after 9/11, and we were able to get really cheap airline tickets. We went to Hawaii, and we had a free rental car for 2 days. This is before everybody had cell phones and GPS, right? So we got some directions, and we were driving this rental car, and it was like, go down to Wanalakaliki, turn left at Hukinakanawa. Go down. You know what? I said, you can have the car. I took the car back. I'm like, I can't find any place. So you're reading names on the radio, 15 years old, and
Right.
but that was your start. And
Right.
now 40 years you're still doing it?
Yeah, from there I decided to come to Peoria to go to Bradley.
Okay.
Because I love Bradley, graduated from there in 1984, but the real reason I came to Peoria was Peoria at the time, and still to a certain extent today, is over-radioed. In other words, there's more radio stations than the size of the town would normally have. So I thought there's a really good chance that maybe I could get a job there while I was going to college. And sure enough, I started part-time when I got down here at KZ93. You remember KZ93?
I do. We were talking before the podcast. I'm an 80s guy, graduated from high school in 88, and I remember listening to you, and man,
It's a lot of hair ago, man. A lot of hair ago.
Yeah, and I didn't have hair back then, believe it or not, but I just remember, and you know what? One of my favorite hit songs that you guys played, and today I don't find a lot of people that remember it, but it was a song called I'll See You in My Dreams by Giant.
Yes,
You remember that?
absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Whatever happened to Giant?
yeah, man, whatever happened? They were so good, such great. I just loved all the ballads, and of course Sting's, Every Breath You Take,
Sure.
played back then, and it was In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. Was that? Yeah, man.
Ba-dum.
Yes.
Best drum lick ever.
Yeah, no kidding. So, in fact, do you have a favorite song from that era?
Oh, God, I love Phil Collins, the early stuff especially. This is going to sound weird, and you're going to think I'm a wimp, but True by Spandau Ballet. I love that song. I thought it was a brilliant song.
Okay, and what was it one more time?
True
True.
by Spandau Ballet. You don't remember it? I've stumped.
Oh my
the
goodness! I am stumped. And you know what? What's funny is I wear hearing aids. I told you this, and I forgot to change my batteries, and it went out during the show. And I'm actually switching out a battery right now as we're talking. And but you did stump me. What's kind of funny is I had coffee with a friend of mine before I came in this morning, and I said I actually listened to more secular music as a pastor than I did even as a teenager. And even as a teenager, I would listen to KZ93, but I was more of a 80s Christian rock and roll guy, Stryper and
Sure.
Petra and Guardian and some of those guys. But then I would also listen to, KZ93 and some of the hit songs. But because of my hearing, I'm not familiar with, I don't know a lot of the words. I'll recognize a chorus, and when it comes on, then I know it. But you stumped me. I don't know.
Well, let me tell you, nobody remembers the words very well. You just make them up.
Man, I could never do karaoke. But so that's how you got your start. And in fact, I actually did some radio when I was a senior in high school.
Oh, yeah?
On AM 1140 WVEL.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Still around today.
Yeah, and back in the day, is it really? It's crap. Wow. and 95.5 was in the same building
Right.
at that time, and there was a show called the Jesus Today Outreach teen radio show, and I was one of the co-hosts. And we would play Christian rock and roll, and then talk about Jesus, and so that's kind of where I cut my teeth. And then I went in Bible college. I did radio for a semester. In fact, when I'm driving sometimes and a song ends, I will
You do it.
with my
You
kids.
turn it
AM 1140. I would. AN 530 KNCR Minneapolis, Chuck Tate here. I got Savannah Ryan shotgun. It's 10-12s a time, 47 degrees outside. And my kids, I drive them crazy.
Yeah,
I do it almost after every.
Dad, you're weird.
Yeah. Yes, but funny story about that. So when it came to, I went to North Central University. Back then it was North Central Bible College, Assembly of God Bible School. And we were kind of limited on what we could play.
Right.
All right. So we weren't allowed to play Christian rock and roll and metal. There were some things we could play, some things we couldn't. But a friend of mine, he locked himself in the room and played Stryper for hours. He got fired. He would not open the door. It was just a Stryper marathon, and we were like, yes. But anyway,
I told you there's great radio stories in every DJ.
And of course, this is before cell phones. I actually overslept, missed a shift So my friend Brian, who was the DJ before me, gave out my phone number on the air and told people to call and wake me up. So that's kind of my stories, but
I had no idea.
yeah. So can you share? Is there any story that just stands out, that jumps out that at you, that I don't know, funny story from? I mean, you probably have countless.
One of the questions I plan to ask my guests on Scott Wheeler's Airplay is, what is the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you?
Yes. Oh.
And mine is this. First year I'm working at KZ93. I think I'm off the air, but the mic is still on.
Oh no.
The phone system is just a speaker. Okay, so everything that comes out the speaker goes over the mic that's still on the air. So the person asked me, I'm playing Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin, a 7-8 minute song.
Yeah.
So lots of time to embarrass myself. The person asked me, hey, it's 1979 or so, maybe 80, and the person asked me, how come you don't play disco music from the Bee Gees? So being the young pup that I am, I go into this really highly analytical, all the facts of radio programming and research about why we don't play the Bee Gees, and this is all going out over the air. Everything I say, everything they say.
And you have no idea.
I have no idea until a guy runs into the studio and flips off my mic and looks at me like that. And I thought that was the end. That was the short-lived career of Scott Wheeler in Peoria radio. But they thought it was hilarious.
Oh, you're like, woo.
So I kept my job, and I always, to this day, make sure my mic's off. No matter what.
No matter what. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously the music industry has changed with digital music. So how has that affected doing radio?
Well, more than anything, like just about any media, there are just more choices for people to listen and watch and read with the internet. You know, they can spend more time now with additional sources of content. And that's just the world we live in. So radio's key, I believe, comes now back to being local and personalities, which is good news for me, because you can listen to Pandora and Spotify and hear a bunch of songs in a row, but you can't get that connection without the person there kind of guiding you through that playlist, maybe telling you some things about it, telling some things about the area you live in, events coming up. And I have found, especially lately, people are so inundated by all the choices, they want someone to kind of curate it for them, kind of help. You know, I could listen to Pandora and I gotta give a thumbs up or thumbs down on the song. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Can I just have somebody pick out some songs that I really like and tell me a little bit about them and tell me the weather and what's going on in the area? That's a lot less work, and it provides companionship. So that's how radio, I really think, will compete in the digital era. We may be delivered to people differently. It may come over their smartphone or their Alexa device, but it's still that local connection with a person that I think will make the difference.
Yeah, I mean, connection's key. And man, so true. There's times where, I don't know what to play. So, play something for me. Play something. And tell me a funny story. I want to hear a joke. Maybe have a contest.
Right.
You know, and get me going. Next thing you know, I'm on a 20-minute drive and it's over and I've had a good time.
Right.
Wow. So is it easier to be in a booth? Well, I mean, back in the day, you would have to cue records, and I mean, were your hands more busy back in the day, or?
Yeah, everything's on computer now, big surprise. And the thing you have, which is, again, something I like, you have time to think about what you want to say and just let your mind kind of wander and listen to the music maybe a little more carefully than you used to, because you're not so busy doing manual things with your hands and queuing up records or getting the tape ready, you actually have time to think, and it allows, I think, for much better communication and personality to come through because you're not busy with other stuff.
Yeah,
It's a big difference.
Are there any myths, things that people believe about radio work that maybe aren't true?
Probably the number one thing is you do your 4 and out the door. In other words, you do your air shift, and that's all we do.
What an easy job you have.
Yeah,
Work for 4 hours
you
a
play
day.
a bunch of music and you go home. Nice life.
Yeah, people say that about me. Oh, how's it feel to only work one day a week? Or 2 days. We have a Saturday service too, so you can preach 3 times. That's all you do. Anyway,
So without exception, most people in the radio business now will wear 2, 3, sometimes 4 hats. They're producing commercials after their air shift. They're doing social media work. They're doing appearances. Maybe they program the station they're on, or 2 or 3 of the stations that their company owns. Without exception, it's a 40, 50 hour a week job. It's not 4 and out the door anymore. I don't know if it ever was, but that's what people thought.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you're multitasking, wearing a lot of different hats.
Yeah, it takes a lot behind the scenes to make what you hear on the radio happen.
Excellent. Well, when it comes to shifts, what's easier, mornings or afternoons?
Oh, you're asking a night owl that question. I've worked mornings twice in my life. Once at KZ93, I was 22 years old. Once at WCIC, I was maybe 47 years old. Let me tell you, when you're 47 instead of 22, it hurts. And so afternoons is my sweet spot. I love the energy of afternoons. I love the day is done and we're happy now, and work behind us and we're going home and we're looser, and there's an energy to it that I really like. But morning radio is very special too. It's just I can't do those hours, man.
That's hard. I'm a night owl myself. And so did you ever play something you weren't supposed to?
Oh, yeah. It's so funny you said the striper thing, because in secular radio, it was kind of the opposite. It's like, are we sure we want to play this Christian God rock stuff on the air?
Yeah.
And Striper had a couple of songs that crossed over to top 40. And I was, I've been Christian since I was a teenager, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And so did I play it a couple more times than I should? Because back in the day, you could kind of pick out your own music before computers. Did I kind of skip over some others to play Striper again?
Yes!
Between you and me?
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes! Well, I don't know where the time went, but man, we're already ready to wrap up just about. So we got a minute or so left. Do you have 1 or 2 standout memories that from maybe somebody calling in, or where you heard a story of somebody heard the right song at the right time that maybe ministered to their heart, rescued them, helped them through? I mean, you probably have a lot of stories like that.
I do, and actually, you would assume that may have come during my time at WCIC, but throughout my career, no matter what the radio station, again, that personal connection people feel with the person on the air allows them to, in some strange and powerful ways, open up to you. And so over the years, there have been many calls like that, but I can remember one when I was at WCIC, guys in a parking lot. He's about to do the most horrible thing you could do and end his life. And he's listening to us at that moment, about ready to do the deed. And he's calling us, he's listening to the music we're playing, and he's barely hanging on. And, I didn't pick out the songs, but something about the sequence of songs we were playing on the air spoke to his heart, and he said, "You have made a huge difference in my life this afternoon."
Wow.
And I'm going to think about, I'm going to go back home and hug my kids and hug my wife and just thank you for being there. I mean, he was in a parking lot. I don't know exactly what he was going to do, but he was close.
Wow.
And you just think,
man.
I don't deserve that kind of a role in his life, but God puts you in those places
Yeah, absolutely.
to make a difference.
Sounds like God had already set things in motion, set
Right.
divine appointments to have the right songs played at the right moment,
Yep.
the right words coming from your mouth to save somebody's life. Man, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really good stuff. Man, I wish we had more time. We gotta have you. Yeah, we gotta have you back on, and we can talk more music and talk favorites. Man, I don't know. Maybe even play some stuff. I don't know, but I'm excited about your new show.
Sure.
And give us the details about that one more time.
Okay, it's April 9th. It's called Scott Wheeler's Airplay, and we're going to have some fun. Talk to a lot of people you listen to and watch all the time.
There you go, guys. It's going to be great. Scott Wheeler's Airplay begins April 9th on Peoria Life channel, so make sure you check it out. Tune in, watch, listen. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to hear a lot of fun stories and learn a lot about a lot of different people. So
Absolutely.
So there you go. So my guest has been Scott Wheeler. For our producer, Mike Sable, my name is Chuck Tate. You have been listening to 41 Strong. We look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.
PeoriaLife.com